The U.S. economy off to its best start for the first quarter since 2015. GDP grew by 3.2% in the first quarter. Looking ahead to 2020, running against the Trump economy presents a challenge for the Democratic presidential hopefuls. For more, let's welcome Hoover Institution research fellow Lanhee Chen and Basil, Smikle, former New York State Democratic Party executive director, who currently lectures on policy and politics at the City University of New York. And guys, I don't think the world has changed where it's no longer the economy stupid. I think that many times it still is the economy stupid, but we have no idea where the economy is going to be a year from now. And it happened with President Obama when you were trying to help Romney get elected, and the economy was in dire straits. By the time November came around, it was doing much better, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I mean, this is the tough thing, right? You're planning. So in 2012, we're planning a campaign at the end of 2010 and beginning of 2011. You're looking at the economy. You're trying to think about how to make a case. In the same way, these Democrats are looking at the economy now. Things look great. We don't know how things are going to look a year from now. The trend ends up being more important, I think, than the actual state of the economy. So if we have a great economy now and things start looking down, I think that creates a problem for President Trump, even if the numbers remain relatively good. That having been said, it's hard to see how you make the case against what the president has done with this economy.
But Lanhee, even though, or Basil, you can, even though we're talking sub 4% unemployment, and we're talking, about some wage gains, there are people in the Democratic Party talking about people being left behind. And as good as some of these numbers are, they're still saying it's not an economy that's working for everyone.
Well, it's been uneven growth, and that's to be sure. You go to parts of Pennsylvania, which is why part of Joe Biden's doing his maiden rally in Pittsburgh. You're going to see that kind of uneven growth. But economic stats are in ways like crime stats, right? Even though the crime numbers can go down if you don't feel safe, there's still a problem there. And I think that's what Democrats are trying to tap into. Look, we have 20 candidates in this race, ranging from the age 37 to 77. We're not going to have a cohesive economic message for quite some time. And that's okay, because as Lanhee said, we have a little time to do that. So we're still talking about things like affordable college, increase of the minimum wage, and even if there are Democrats that are not doing that legislatively, we're, I think, in a position to force some businesses to do it on their own. And I think that's where Democrats can talk about winning.
I did see a piece over the weekend, just 5 key points that many on if you go out to the far left or mid to far left, that Medicare for all, get rid of the Electoral College, forgive student loans and free college. There were a couple other that I'm just wondering, I can't remember the last two, but they're also outlier, I would say. Maybe they're not. Just for me, they look like outlier positions, but I'm wondering how Joe Biden
starts to thread that needle,
how he honors that side of the party to get the nomination, and then tax back to the middle if he were to do it in the general election.
In his mind, my guess is, and he's called himself a liberal before, right? But he's a liberal in his version of what the Democratic Party was. I don't think we are there. So I do think he's going to have to move to the left to capture some of those younger voters, particularly, I mean, if our candidates are trending young, he's going to have to move that direction substantially.
Do you think he's the eventual is he your pick, Basil?
I'm still waiting to be courted, quite frankly. I will tell you that, but I would tell you that things like affordable college, which I teach at 2 universities, affordable college is really hitting home for a lot of the folks that I interact with on a day-to-day basis.
Who's not for affordable college? That's different than free college with debt forgiveness.
But I would also say this about Joe Biden. What he's thinking he can do is tap into those white working class voters who've left the party at least 10 years ago.
And that's hard to underestimate that.
And the thing with those voters is that their sort of economic anxiety, and for many of them, not all of them, is also tied to racial and ethnic anxiety as well. So that's not a straight economic message. There's a little more to that very few of our candidates, maybe Joe Biden is one of the few that can actually tap into both of those concerns and bring some of them back to
I'm not sure. Here's the problem for Joe Biden. I'm not sure where he goes on economic policy, right? He's not going to go to where Elizabeth Warren is. I don't think he's going to go to wealth tax. Is he going to say what Cory Booker has said, which is we've got to expand the earned income tax credit to promote work? Is he going to say, look, I'm for higher taxes on some percentage of the population? Am I for some different treatment of capital gains? It's just not clear to me. With Joe Biden getting in as late as he's gotten in, it's just not clear to me where he goes. The key to a primary campaign is differentiation.
Yep.
You're talking about fighting over a very narrow slice of voters. So how do you differentiate in that context? I think Biden's going to have to figure that out. And right now, the differentiation he's getting, I would argue, is not good for him because he's seen as the backward-looking candidate. He's seen as, let's take us back. Let's restore what America was. That's not where the Democratic Party is.
And I agree with you. In fact, what's going to be challenging for Joe Biden is if he slips out of the top 3, for example, in terms of polling, in terms of fundraising, that's a huge problem for him. And that means that whatever message he has isn't working.
But do you think the Democrats can run it all on the economy? I mean, that to me is actually a very fundamental question. Given how hot the economy is today under Trump and the current administration, whether you can even try, you could run on lots of other things, right? You could see Biden's commercial and talk about Charlottesville and all sorts of other divisiveness in the country, character. Those may be fair places to play, but I'm not sure that on the economy itself that actually that's going to be a successful outcome.
Even though your favorite discussions on this show are that capitalism is broken. I mean, if it's broken, why are things going so well?
And that's what voters do believe. That, and I think that's where our candidates have been successful. They do feel that capitalism is broken. Think about where Donald Trump has been spending a lot of his time these days, in the Midwest. There's a clear issue with how voters feel about the economy in the Midwest. So we can run on this issue. Whether we have a cohesive message about it is going to take time.
I think it's a loser. I think they have to. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's very hard to swim against the tide on this one.
I think when it's all said and done, it's like a Biden-Kamala or something like that.
That's a great take.
Yeah, I think
it comes out of.
I think it's fair.
They've
got a balance,
and then they go with. The next generation will take over.
Look, it's like a wedding, something old, something new, something
they have
borrowed,
got
something
to.
blue.
I mean, that in my mind sort of tickles all of the Democratic Party's erogenous zones.
Either one of you think Bernie? I mean, we were.
That is such a gross.
I'm sorry.
Lanhee.
Not to bring that into politics, but
it's too early, man.
Bernie's going to be mad if it looks like he deserves to get it and doesn't get it.
Of course he is. Of course he is.
He's not going to get it though, is he?
Well, no, he's not, and he's going to be out there, doing his Bernie thing. And the question is going to be, look, when we get to March of next year before Super Tuesday, there's going to be 2 or 3 people, right? There's 25 now. 14 of them want book deals, and the rest of them we're going to get to March and the Super Tuesday states, and we're going to have 2 or 3. Bernie's probably going to be in the mix, and if he doesn't get it, he's going to be a problem for the Democrats.